Hello, everybody. Holy cow, the Green Effect podcast is back. It's only been like a year and a half I haven't produced a show on here, but you know what? It's time. I think there's so many things going on in the world. There's so many things I can talk about. This is now the time to bring this back. I've probably got a little bit more time on my hands being a mortgage person, going through the beginning stages of a recession. So, what better time to get through a project that's taken a year and a half hiatus? Even myself and my assistant, we've got our list of things that we haven't looked at in 2 years. So we're getting through the honeydew list from over that time period. Anyway, I'm going to try to keep these podcasts in and around maybe 10, 15 minutes. Keep it simple, get you out the updated news and what's going on, but most importantly, the way that I see it. I've been told that I have a bit of a unique way of looking at things. If not, well, guess what? I think they're unique, and that's really all that matters. So, season three, episode one. I think after a year and a half off, you get to say the next season number. So that's what we're going to go with. Season three, episode one. We're just going to go through a quick what the heck's going on in this market. I'm going to give it a bit of a story as to what's gone on with me in the last year and a half. And other than that, hey, we'll see what happens. Here we go.
Welcome to the Green Effect Podcast. Finance, life, business, and everything in between. And now, your host, Stephen Green.
You know what, man? Honestly, I won't lie. This is pretty crazy restarting this podcast. Let's call it what it is. Year and a half, nothing. The last year and a half has just been absolutely insane. It's been an emotional roller coaster to say the least. And before I get into all the amazing, not so much incredible things going on in the world right now, let me just give you a bit of an update as to what's gone on with me and probably why I've taken a full year and a half off from this podcast. So I believe the last time I did one of these is back April 2021, and I tried a bit of a new format, and it was working, but I had to find guests, and then we had to find time, and then I had to edit the video. Honestly, it's a lot of work, and as much as I enjoy it and talking to guests, it was just a thing where it was a make work project. So as I continued through, I thought, man, and you got to remember the market at the time, mid 2021, was insane. I was absolutely blessed to have a ton of great clients, a lot of business coming in, and it really was like drinking out of a fire hose. It was insane the amount of mortgages going through and stuff, and I figured, you know what? I can't do it. I have a family, and as 21 started to progress, I'll be honest, and maybe I'll open up a little bit here. I would say by about October, November, I was burning out. It was great. I think the volume was fantastic, but I wasn't doing. I was almost in a place where I was like, is this even worth it anymore? Okay. It was not a dark place. I wasn't, I don't think I was depressed or anything, but I was exhausted. I was absolutely exhausted. I couldn't, I just couldn't bring myself to do another mortgage application. And I think I took some time off at Christmas. I had to regroup. And I think it's important for people to understand who are listening to this that you have to look after number one at the end of the day. And I'm in my mid 40s. I'm becoming that person that, when you were younger would tell you, you know what, take care of yourself, do this, make sure, don't burn out. Well, now I'm that person. And I think for my own mental health, I had to take, I didn't take official quote time off, but I definitely slowed down last December. So throughout this year, of course, as we all know, it's been just an emotional roller coaster. The year got off to a rocket start. And then, of course, when the rates started to increase, it was just like we hit a wall, right? In and around right in around the summer. And now what's happened is, so the busy volume continued throughout the beginning of 2022. Now what's happened is our business has completely changed. I would argue for the better. However, now we find ourselves no longer drinking out of a fire hose, but we find ourselves being true business people. And I reach out to clients. I have time to get my social media under control. I'm able to reintroduce the podcast. So I think it's a bit of an exciting time. The world has changed. Myself, I'm now able to get back into this sort of thing. My Instagram has ramped up, my TikTok has ramped up. Shameless plug, if you want to pop on there and follow me, both handles are SG, so my initials, mortgage advice. Okay, so pop on there. Again, shameless plug, but who cares? It's my show. I can do it. So this is what I want to do now. I want to get back to producing podcasts and getting information out to people. There's so much misinformation and so much stuff that's out there that's just been twisted. And listen, I don't have an economics degree. Quite frankly, I don't think an economics degree would help you today anyway. So maybe a psychic degree, if they have that, that would help right now. But I just want to get the right information out there. So that's really what's happened to me in my world over the last year and a half, and why the podcast really stopped. I just couldn't continue. I didn't have the time, and it was a tough go at it. So let's fast forward and get into what the heck is going on in this crazy market. So I want to give a bit of a look back and look to where it is and look to where it's going. So I'm a big picture guy. Okay. Anyone who knows me, I'm not looking at the next year, the next month. I'm looking years down the road when I'm doing planning and trying to understand the market and what's going on with my clients and stuff like that. So we have just come from, you know, things were going well up until 2020 when our amazing friend COVID hit. And yeah, we had challenges in the market. Of course we did. There's always going to be a thing in the market. But when March 2020 hit, let's face it, it changed absolutely everything. And so you have to understand when, and right or wrong, at the time, we had to do, and the government had to do whatever it took to keep this ship afloat. Could they have not given out CERB or had a better process? Probably. Could they have not given out that $40,000 credit to small businesses where if you pay it 30,000 back, you get to keep 10 grand? Yeah, we probably could have done that a lot different, but they had to do that because they thought that's what was right. Do I think that was right? Not the way it turned out. The intention of some of these programs was just simply not the right thing. And then of course we had rates drop, right? And you have that sort of cheap debt. I'm not really sure what you're expecting is going to happen other than people are going to spend until the cows come home. So, when we look at what happened through COVID and financial stimulus, you've got the Bank of Canada, for example, mid last year coming out. I saw the video just to make sure I wasn't crazy, saying, hey, rates are going to be low for years. Go spend, my children. And I've used this analogy a couple of times where it's almost like someone threw, we'll call it the Bank of Canada threw a big old party, got everybody drunk and high, and then gave them the keys to their car to drive home drunk and high. Well, that's what you do when you drop rates and tell people to go spend money? What were you expecting them to do? And you have to understand that Canadians, we love our debt. We are the most indebted nation in the world. There's a stat of debt to income ratio. What is the debt to income? So for every dollar of debt to a dollar of income, Canada's like a buck 80. So 180% of debt to income ratio. I think the next country, and someone can confirm this with me, but the next country below us, I believe, is the US at like a buck 53. Someone can confirm that for me. I'm sure someone will take the time to correct me on this. But, you know, we find ourselves now, if I can just fast forward this a little bit through all the spending and the good times and the $1,000 a month car payments and the Teslas being dropped off by the boatload and the house renovations. Do you remember trying to get a house renovation done? Holy cow. Now, not all we've done, we've introduced the steepest increase in rates in history. And now what we have is we have everybody just halting everything. I did it with my family. I'm going through subscriptions and I'm like, who the heck is watching Disney? Nobody? Cancel it. So I think every family right now is going through this where they're trying to figure out what the heck to do because the drunkenness and the fact that they got a high off what the Bank of Canada gave them, it's like they're coming down off their high and they're sobering up and realizing, holy crap, we got a lot of debt out there. And, listen, as you guys all know, I work for a bank, but, are banks partially responsible for this? Probably a little bit. They're not the only one that's responsible, right? I give an example as my wife. My wife sadly has not worked in about 6 years due to medical reasons. Well, she got pre-approved for a line of credit for 20,000 from a major bank. The girl ain't working. So, we've really got to look at this from again, every way I look at it, big picture. Okay? How have we gotten into this mess? And I think we have to really look at the leadership in the country. What is the Bank of Canada doing? There's a lot of things we got to look at. And I think, with people, yes. Does my wife have to take that $20,000 line of credit as an unemployed person? No, absolutely. She does not need to. Is it her fault? Maybe. Right? So I think it's very big picture. We're going to see what ends up happening. I feel, because that's all you do right now when people ask for predictions, you just say things like I feel, I suspect, I think. You never guarantee anything because who the hell knows? But I think we're very close to our rate increase cycle ending. I think. I think. Because I'll be honest, I see clients and they can't afford what is happening. Am I mad at them? No. Do I blame them? Not really. Right? But if these things keep going, we are going to have just some crazy things. I can see homelessness becoming an issue. It already is an issue, but at worse. I know in Kitchener, for example, we have a tent city that has been built by several homeless people. And they're talking now about making it a thing where they have sections of the city for tent city. Not sure how that's going to go in minus 30-degree temperatures, but hey, I mean, I guess whatever if it works, but that's a whole other issue. So, we're going to have more insolvencies. We're going to have delinquent mortgages. It's going to start to happen. So, let's leave it at that. We're at about almost 15 minutes here. That's the story of me for the last year and a half. That's what's happening in the world right now. We'll keep getting into stuff throughout our podcasts. And make sure you like and follow. Throw me a rating, Like 5 stars apparently is amazing. So if you're impressed, man, I would love a 5 star review on Apple Podcasts or whatever podcast you're listening to this on. 5 stars, baby. All right, help a brother out. And of course, Instagram, TikTok, SG Mortgage Advice. Folks, that is the end. Season 3, Episode 1. Man, I hope there's an Episode 2. Hey, what do you think? See you guys soon.
Thank you for listening to the Green Effect Podcast. Subscribe to this podcast on iTunes or Google Play so you catch the next episode. And don't forget to leave a review. Much appreciated.